Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi, the Division 2 manhunt, hunting for auntie, however you're going to say it, framing. So I want to, thanks if you watched any of the things on team building. I hope it helped a little bit. Of course, all these things are kind of my opinion or how I do things. Here, I'm in my tank build and I'm going to run right to the spawn point. I've died once already, and so I'm not going to fool around, I think. This is usually when I say thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, hitting the ringy-dingy bell. But I want to talk to you about framing. And there's several different ways the word framing can be used. One, obviously, is a picture frame. The way that you put a frame or not put a frame on a piece of artwork, photography, or whatever is significant. Everyone takes pictures. How you frame the pictures. Traditionally, you put the subjects in the center of the picture, but now with the cameras and how you can make things out of focus, maybe those were techniques you could only do if you could enhance the actual film back in the day. But maybe the subject doesn't always need to be in the center of the picture. So that's another thing about framing. And the third thing, among many things about framing, is in physics, theoretical physics, you have reference frames that determine, relativity, whether you're moving or not moving. There's a couple snipers up there that you got to get. But what am I talking about framing? Framing is how you frame every instance, every moment, every scenario, every situation in your life. And framing is really important because really you decide what success looks like for you. For the example, if you're ever sitting in a waiting room and times to be going slow, that's kind of your reference. If you were preoccupied and let's say you were doing something, it might not seem as long. These are all your references. Sometimes unconsciously, by default, you might set frames of reference for yourself in a psychological way because that's what your parents taught you, that's what society taught you, that's what your clan taught you, that's what your group taught you, whatever it is. I didn't realize there was a heavy over there. Just trying to do it a little bit different. So you frame your success and what success is for you. Of course, if you look at just the metrics that you can see on this channel, I have 322 subscribers. If I frame my success in context like with Mr. Beast or someone else, it's, I'm not successful at all. And for me to do that would be punishing. There might be some people say, well, no. It's you're defining your success. You're defining your fun. You're deciding what success or what creativity or what your music looks like. That's not to say that you go up against social norms. So if you define success as living on a sailboat, not everyone in the world defines it as that. So you can't expect everyone to agree with your frame of reference. But that doesn't make your frame of reference any less. I have about 80% elite damage reduction, so he's not going to hurt me. Thank you for worrying, though, YouTube. So you get to define this. And really where I want to push this towards is creators. There's a lot of creative people that have a lot of voices that want to say something, but they don't think that there is an audience for their message. And as an older person, we were promised 500 channels that cable would eventually. I grew up in a time where there was, 4 stations, maybe 5 if you count a PBS station. In Detroit, we had CBC station, Channel 9, Channel 7 was ABC, Channel 4 was NBC, Channel 2 was CBS. And we had a public PBS station, and we had like one other, like channel 20, that was, a UHF or VHF. I think I've told you about this before. And when cable was coming, they were like, you're going to have access to so many channels. And it's like, okay, when's that coming? And then when they got more deregulated, cable's like, oh, now you're really going to get it. Satellite TV came. It's going to be 500 channels. Problem was, there wasn't enough content creators for that. And the people that created content in the past were so controlling over the message, or the sponsors were so controlling over the message, that you just didn't get to see everything. You were going to get prepackaged messages. Nowadays, we could only hope that there was 500 channels of content, because there's an ass dump truck load of content. So, how do you frame that? What's success for you? Really, artist, you're not doing the artist for other people, you're doing it for yourself. There's a voice inside you, there's a muse inside you. In ancient Greeks, they talked about muses. Writers get writer's block, and I would have to submit to you, if you're trying to stuff stuff into a bag, you're going to be limited to that bag side. If you lock yourself in a room and don't experience life, you're not going to have experiences to give you a wide panorama to choose from. You're limiting your canvas to talk about, but you don't know who your voice is. I didn't know there was going to be 300 people that would subscribe to my channel, and there's thousands of more that have seen the video. I didn't know that. And maybe they turn it off when they hear me talking my philosophical BS, right? Or like what I think about life. But we all have voices. We all can say what we want to say. I'm not going to show you the full video here. I split this up into two pieces. This was hard for me with this tank build. And you're going to see why. Everyone's spread all out, so it's hard. I get encircled, so this is kind of dicey. But you're creating for you, and it's going to be in your voice. And some people may not like it. There's a lot of people, artists, that go undiscovered even until they're dead, and then their works become discovered. One is there's just a lot of art. There's a lot of, especially now, there's a lot of channels. Number two, your audience has to find you, and they might not find you. Everyone knows the tools to make that happen. You can use things like Facebook and Twitter and other things that help build a community. But the most important part is your content, is your unique and authentic voice. And I know those are two really horrible words, but what do we mean by unique? Your experience, even brothers and sisters, have a different perspective. I'd say that right off the top of my head, probably the two people that have the closest experience might be twins for the majority of their life. But what about the times when they're not together? But if you choose to be with someone and you share some of the same things, and you have this kind of mystique that we do everything together, yeah, you're going to probably have a closer existence. But in all, being unique is very human. Your story is unique. Number two is authentic. And that's kind of what I was getting to if you saw it in my videos where I talked about ChatGPT. Not that I told you I was talking about ChatGPT, it just cropped up in the middle of the video. That's an inauthentic voice. That's not your voice. That's no one's voice. I'm not going to shame it because of the algorithm. It's just, how can it have a voice? It doesn't experience anything. All it can do is scrape the internet and put words together. There was an old saying when I was growing up, you put 1 million monkeys with 1 million typewriters, they eventually will type all the works of Shakespeare. But that's going to take 1 million years, 1 billion years, whatever it is. And that's the same thing with ChatGPT or any AI. So where does that leave this? I'd love for you to record a video. But Ronan, I don't like my voice. I can't stand my voice when I hear it. It nauseates me. But here's a couple things that happen. If you record your video and then you do commentary on it and then you listen back, you give it a day to cook and you listen to it, you're going to find out some things. You're going to hear some verbal tics you have, and you're going to look at your gameplay and see how you could do it better. That's great. Also, that gets you in the habit of doing some self-reflection, which is always fantastic. Yes, you can do too much of anything. Too much self-reflection is debilitating. But you do these videos, and as you do them, your voice will become more and more clearer to you. The story you want to tell. What's the story you want to tell? What's the message? But it's not really a message. You know, in Michigan, it's get out of the left lane if you're going slow for driving. And that might be everywhere. But like in Michigan, we always thought that was like our thing. Get out of the left lane if you're going to drive slow. But that's a message. That's not your story. What's your story? What makes you, why did you like to play this game? There's some people that hate that why question because it forces you to look inside instead of external. Or maybe you don't want to deal with those questions, and that's all okay. But if you want to, I wanted to do this on a channel, and after a while when the pandemic hit, it was at the end of the pandemic, I was out of a job, and I said, let me start doing this. I can only imagine if I had done this 5 years ago, where I'd be now. But you know where I'd be in reality? We think about, and it's a good thing about rewards, money, and all that stuff, but I'd have 5 years of daily content. What am I going to talk about? Well, what I tell you about, and I think I already asked you to subscribe, like, share, hit the ringy-dingy bell. We're going to have to pause this for the next video. This is where I'm going to cut it off. But you're going to see I do one thing, hopefully. I switch to my Vial Jammer build right here. Come on, do it, Ronan. You can do it, Ronan. Switch to your build. Ta-da! There we go. See you, YouTube. Bye.